It's Monday, March 30th, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. Barbados' COVID-19 CZAR, Richard Carter, today cautioned that too many Barbadians are still on the road despite restrictions to limit movement aimed at curbing the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19. Today was the first day the majority of the island's businesses were closed, with only essential services in operation. But speaking of VOB's down to brass tacks, Carter voiced concern that Barbadians are not practicing the principles of social distancing, and this could result in stricter measures.
I believe the legislation that was passed in Parliament does give to the Chief Medical Officer the power to require further restrictions if it is considered that the desired results are not being attained. We have not gone directly to those because we have, in all of our responses, been calibrated to allow moral suasion and the behavior and order and judgment of Barbadians to prevail and to represent itself in the behaviors. But if that is not being achieved, then we will have no difficulty in imposing such restrictions as are necessary to achieve our objectives.
Schools will only be pressed into service as quarantine and isolation centers if the COVID-19 outbreak worsens to the point that Barbados has no more capacity and the facilities already set aside for that purpose. COVID-19 CZAR, Richard Carter, gave Barbadians this reassurance as they expressed concern after a statement issued by the government on Sunday indicated that the Blackman and Gollop Primary School in Staple Grove, Christchurch would be used for such purposes. The Central Bank of Barbados has moved swiftly to shore up commercial banks on the island and protect the local financial system from fallout due to ongoing business closures, rapid job losses, and the national curfew and shutdown. In an announcement today, the central bank said that from April 1, it will introduce several measures to support banks and other deposit-taking financial institutions of which it has oversight. Among the measures are collateralized loans to finance houses for up to 6 months as liquidity support as the island fights the growing new coronavirus. The bank says that its measures, coupled with those of government and the commercial banks, represented a multi-pronged response to dampen the effects of COVID-19 and should help to preserve financial stability and enable a faster turnaround in the economy once the crisis is over. Chief Executive Officer of the Small Business Association, Senator Lynette Holder, is making an impassioned plea to government to urgently provide a multi-million-dollar bailout for micro and small businesses as they continue to buckle under the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. She told Barbados Today some small firms have already closed their doors and others are on the brink of collapse.
I'm seeing a relief fund in the order of between $10 to $15 million. In the first instance, I know, yes, Barbados is in an IMF program, but I'm satisfied that the same way we can find funding and support for other key sectors, and rightfully so, we have to do it for micro and small firms that contribute to the employment generation in this country and make a significant impact, not only economically but socially.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume revelers, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
In Guyana, Chief Executive Officer of the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, retired Brigadier George Lewis, today expressed concerns that persons are discriminating against hospital staff treating patients infected with COVID-19. He urged Guyanese to stop the practice.
You realize that without the healthcare workers, we cannot beat COVID-19. And a number of our nurses and doctors are being discriminated against when they attempt to use private transportation and they're moving around in supermarkets and other areas. I asked the general public to understand that those I asked the general public to Please understand that they have a duty to perform, understand that they're doing their best, and understand that without those healthcare professionals, Guyana will not beat COVID-19.
Further afield in the United States, stay-at-home guidelines that were due to expire today have been extended until at least the end of April. More than 143,000 coronavirus cases are reported across America, and more than 2,500 people have died. New York has the most cases by far, with more than 59,000, but the numbers are escalating in states like Louisiana, Michigan, Illinois, and California. More in this report from CBS Television.
But the president says the resources are plentiful and arriving, but at the state level, especially here in New York, there seems to be a disconnect. You've got leaders and ICU nurses who I'm hearing from who are saying, we're still not getting the masks we need to protect ourselves. You're going to hear from Louisiana's governor this morning, who's a Democrat, but has not criticized the president and says, I have been asking for ventilators from the national stockpile and as of now have not gotten any. Back here in New York, hospitals are getting creative as they're being asked to do more. Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City is now setting up tents in Central Park to treat the city's growing number of coronavirus patients.
We're going to be using every place we need to use to help people. So this is the kind of thing you will see now as this crisis develops and deepens.
Everything has changed.
Phil Suarez has been a paramedic in New York City for 26 years. Listen to him say how they're entering almost every house these days.
Every home you go into now, you go in with goggles, a gown, and a mask on.
We do. Yes, we do. I look at surfaces and I could almost visualize coronavirus.
The CDC has issued a travel advisory telling everyone living in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut to avoid all non-essential travel for the next 2 weeks. New Yorkers have been told that when they're traveling to Rhode Island, they will be stopped and asked to quarantine. The governors of Oklahoma and Texas are now telling travelers from other states that have hotspots that if you enter our state, you are ordered to self-quarantine for 2 weeks.
Understand that executive orders that I issue about travel is keenly focused on one main goal, and that is to reduce importing COVID-19 into the state of Texas.
One of the main hotspots this morning continues to be New Orleans, Louisiana. They have 3,500 cases in Louisiana, with at least 151 deaths. One of those who died was 33-year-old April Dunn, a member of the governor's staff.
We wrap our newscast on a light note. Our entertainers have been connecting with Barbadians in a different way in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Entertainers and staff of the First Citizens and Digicel Big Show tent have challenged each other to send positive messages about good hygiene and staying safe. Here's AC and Biggie Irie.
La la le, di la loy, la la la, dam 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 dam. Challenge accepted. Ian Webster, I come to tell them about COVID-19 disaster, pandemic, getting people sick. But there are certain ways that we can deal with it. Stay at home, wash your hands, always sanitize. Keep them from out your mouth and your eyes. Don't mind you talking ish, cause when it's all over, at least you got your health and toilet paper. La la loy. As they say, AC out here.
Shubai. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Hey. Yes, my people, I'm talking to you. Tell me what the hell are we gonna do? This COVID-19 is a serious thing. Look how we done up, we gathering. Just stop in your house and sanitize. By the grace of God, we will all arise. Just say a prayer, but don't you panic. Let we get corona from bout here quick. Bada 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 bam. Bada bada bam bada bada bam. Shubai. Oh, pam 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 bye bye.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.